Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with the video I wasn't planning on doing, but I did a TikTok of this and I want your opinions because there were some people are always angry on TikTok, but there were some people who are genuinely angry at my ranking. So I wanted to come on here with a video and see what you guys thought were the best books in the Bridgerton series. I read the Bridgerton series back in 2020 and I read them all to prepare for the show. So I read them all before the show came out, and now I reread the Vicar Who Love Me and my rating changed from 2020. So I do have a video of me talking about the entire series, and that video has gotten a lot of views recently. That video is over a year old and it's gotten like 13,000 views in the past 2 months. So I feel like I need an updated version of my thoughts on the Bridgerton books. Now I do want to reread my favorites, so maybe I'll do a reading vlog rereading my favorites. I don't know, but I feel like everybody's been obsessing over the series and it makes me so happy because I love historical romance. I'm wearing my historical romance sweatshirt. I've been reading historical romances pretty much for the past 2.5 years. I've been reading them consistently. I've always been a fan, but I've really dived into the genre over the past like 2.5 years. So I have my ranking right here, and I don't want to make anybody mad. We all feel very passionate about these characters, so let me know your ranking before I even get started. And please keep the comments nice because I already got a mean comment on TikTok about my ranking. I am the reader that I am. I love angst and drama and tension. So, but I also love really sweet heroes. So I will get to my ranking. Coming in number 8, I feel like is a consensus because The Duke and I is, in my opinion, the weakest of the series. I like Daphne and Simon enough. This one is a marriage of convenience and it was a good introduction to the series, but I feel like relationship-wise it was kind of lacking. I mean, we have a fake dating situation, but the fake dating is gone so quickly in the book. I remember reading it and I was like, they haven't been fake dating for that long, and then all of a sudden it's a marriage of convenience. So I do love a good duel. Like duels, I think they're so stupid but so entertaining. So I really love a good duel, but in this one I just feel like the romance was fine and the book was fine. It was a good setup. It's definitely the weakest of the series, which is in my opinion very sad because I want people to continue reading them because they just get better and better. Like, I will tell you now, books 5 through 8, I gave them all 5 stars. So half of the series, in the latter half, I think are the best, but this one was my least favorite. I don't know anybody who's read this and said it's their favorite of the series. It was just fine, but like, love the setback. The next one, it breaks my heart that it's one of my least favorites because it is a couple that was building for 3 books. And I was dying for their story, and to me it was a bit of a letdown, and that is Romancy, Mr. Bridgerton. This one, I love the step back, I love the cover. Colin and Penelope had this tension. 10 years pass before they get their book, and it is revealed who Lady Whistledown is in this book, in book 4, but I just didn't feel like I cared about their romance as much. Colin was very insecure about him as a writer, and I just felt like, okay, but you have like literally all the money and opportunity to do whatever you want, and you're whining to someone like Penelope in her situation about you not thinking that people are gonna like your writing. And I get it, like, people have commented on my review saying that, well, Colin has more pressure because like people expect more from him, and when you have those opportunities you're like, but am I really good enough? Like, I get it, but I also was like, will you stop whining for the entire book? But I enjoyed their romance. It was cute, and I like the scene where Colin decides that he likes Penelope and is gonna tell people he's gonna marry her. I really like that, but they did have a lot to work through in this book, especially because of the thing he said about her. I'm assuming we're gonna the romance next in the show. I really hope they do it better than the book because this is one of my least favorite books, so I have very high hopes for the show. I hope they change some things. So we shall see, but this one, it was alright. More of a letdown because I was expecting a lot more from their romance because they hyped it so much in the books. The last 2 of the series I feel like are the most underhyped, but I love them, but I also don't love them as much as other ones. So previously, book number 2 was in this spot. Vicar Who Loved Me was my 6th favorite, but it has since moved up on my reread. So the next one that's coming in is It's in His Kiss. I feel like this one, I liked it. It's Hyacinth and Gareth's story. It's really adorable. Gareth is related to Lady Danbury, so we see a lot of Lady Danbury in here. There's a mystery going on in here, and it's a really sweet romance. Hyacinth offers to translate something for Gareth, and they have a romance and they're spending more time together. They meet at the Smythe Smith musicale, which is like this big joke in the series because the people who perform in this musicale are awful. There is a Smythe Smith series though, which is a spin-off from this book where you see Lady Danbury in there, you see the Bridgertons. I love the Smythe Smith series, so check it out if you haven't yet. But this one, it was really cute. I really like their romance, but it wasn't anything like as overwhelmingly special as all the other ones that I have in here. So that's why this comes in at number 6, but I still really enjoyed seeing Hyacinth as a main character in a romance after seeing her as a child in the previous ones. And I think it was Simon's book where at number 1 where there was a really sweet scene with her and Simon, and I just loved seeing her have her own romance. After that, this was hard for me to put it at number 5 because this is such a sweet romance and it is on the way to the wedding. So this is Gregory's story, and Gregory is unlike every other Bridgerton character so far. Every other Bridgerton man. Gregory believes in love. He is like, I want love. Complete opposite of Anthony, right? He's like, I have seen all my siblings fall in love. I know my parents were in love. He wants love. He thinks he's in love with Hermione, and he's like, I'm in love with her. She's gonna be my wife. Lucy is Hermione's best friend, and Hermione is actually in love with someone else. And so Lucy agrees to work with Gregory in order to get Hermione, and they fall in love instead. And there's actually a little bit of not suspense, but like a little bit of danger thrown in at the end, which I appreciated. We know in the beginning that Gregory is trying to break up a wedding, but you don't know whose, because he apparently is in love with Hermione, but him and Lucy start feeling things for each other. So is he going to pick Hermione? Is he going to pick Lucy? I really enjoyed this one so much. It was just a breath of fresh air and it's such a fun ending. Colin is sitting in a tree with Gregory talking about love and romance, and it was a special moment to me. I love seeing the characters all having fallen in love already in Gregory's book and mentoring Gregory through his heartbreak and his determination to find love, and it was just really cute. I really love this one. All right, we have our top 4. This is where it gets a little controversial, but number 4, I'm going with An Offer from a Gentleman. I really love Sophie and Benedict's story, but I'm someone who loves a social class difference story. This one is the only social class difference story in this series. I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. But Sophie's a servant and they meet at a masquerade. Benedict is instantly like, you are unlike any other woman I've met. And then every woman after that he compares to her, and he's like, no one compares to this woman I met at this ball. Well, then he and Sophie meet again, and he's a little bit of a jerk in how he thinks their relationship can work, because in this time period, in his mind, if he wants to keep her. If he wants to keep a relationship with her, it has to be as a mistress. And so he actually, when he meets Sophie again, doesn't know she's the woman from the ball. So he keeps on comparing her to the woman at the ball, and he's like, I need to wait for this woman from the ball. But he's falling in love with this woman who is of low class. She has a horrible home situation. It is a Cinderella retelling, and I just really loved their romance. And I remember just some really iconic scenes that stuck out to me. Even now, after reading it a year ago, I just really enjoyed this one, and the ending was really fun. So definitely love this Bridgerton book, and I'm interested to see how they're going to do it in the show. I don't know if they'll keep anything the same based on how the show is going, but we'll see. The next one, now at number 3, is The Viscount Who Loved Me. This jumped from, what, number 6 to number 3 because I'm obsessed with Anthony and Kate. I absolutely loved everything about them. I love their banter. I love the development of their romance. I love how there was so much complexity to their characters, with Anthony being afraid that he's going to die young, so he doesn't want to marry anybody because he doesn't want them to go through the pain of losing him, and he doesn't want to lose anybody himself. And then we have Kate, who is terrified of thunderstorms because of something that happened in her past, and how they are there for each other both when they are confronted with their fears, and how there's so much tension between them, and how Anthony wants to court Edwina but ends up falling for Kate. And this is not a love triangle. It does not go that far, but I just really loved also having a marriage of convenience in here. I thought that was amazing. I loved the library scene. I loved the bee scene. I loved Pall Mall. Like, there are so many iconic scenes in this book. I love seeing all the family again. We don't get too much of the family throughout them, but I still loved those moments, like with Pall Mall, seeing the family, and this is just amazing. Like, Kate doesn't feel like she's pretty like Edwina, and she doesn't believe Anthony when he says he's in love with her and that she's gorgeous, and it's just such a good historical romance, and it bumped it up to number 3 after rereading it. So I had to reread these books because my feelings are all over the place about them, and they might change, but this is how I feel right now. But the next 2, I definitely have to reread. They are my top 2, and I feel like me saying To Sir Philip with Love is my second favorite is probably the most controversial on this list. On TikTok, it was about this book. Someone was like, I lost complete trust in you when you put that at number 2. Well, I am a Sir Philip stan, so I loved this book so much. Now, I think if you read this after watching the show, it might not be a favorite because Eloise is completely different in the book than she is in the show. Eloise has actually been writing to Sir Philip after the loss of Marina, who was his wife, and this has a very dark beginning because Marina suffers from postpartum depression. It is undiagnosed. We just infer that as a reader, and she does pass away, and so Sir Philip feels like it's his fault that she's gone because he could have prevented it in his eyes, and so he is very sad. And he has his twins that he's raising, and he loves plants. I love the fact that he loves plants. Like, I don't know why, but I love that about his character. We saw that in the show. I freak out every time we see Sir Philip in the show because I love him in this book. And Eloise has been writing to him, and she keeps on writing to him, and she decides that she's gonna be his wife. So she shows up at his house, and the antics the twins have are hilarious with her. They play pranks on each other. I just love the dynamics of this book. I love the romance, and it was really good. This actually takes place at the same time as Penelope and Colin's book, so the timelines all overlap, but I just adored this book, and I know people don't like it, and I feel like show Eloise would never do this. So I don't know how the book is gonna go when it's Eloise's turn to have her romance. I don't know, but as a book, pre-show, it was one of my favorites. As someone who is an angsty romance reader, give me the drama, give me the angst and tension. When he was wicked, literally obsessed. Francesca is someone who's barely in the books and not even in the show. She's in like 5 minutes of each season. But Francesca and Michael are so perfect to me. So Francesca gets married and she has a happy marriage. She loves her husband, but her husband tragically passes away. And Michael is her husband's cousin and best friend. And he's always been around, so they're pretty much best friends too. Michael has been pining after Francesca since they met. He has been in love with his best friend's wife since he met her. And now his best friend is dead, and it is his romance with Francesca. He gets to inherit everything from his cousin, and he feels like he's already betraying him by like taking over his life. How could he ever go after his wife as well? So much tension and pining. I think this is the steamiest book as well, and it is just absolute perfection. I love this book so much. And I'm dying to reread it. Like, this is something I have to reread again because I know it's going to be a favorite as well. We also love, I haven't been showing you the step backs, but we love a caped man step back. I don't know why he's wearing a cape and he's shirtless, but he is. But this one was just so good because we have that angst because she's lost her husband, and how could she ever move on with his best friend, and how could he ever betray his best friend by going after his wife even though he's dead. It is just so good. Like, I'm gonna be dead when we get this season. Don't speak to me and I will watch it all in one day and be obsessed. The moment Michael walks onto the screen of Bridgerton, I will be dead. So I don't know when it's gonna happen because this book takes place, I think, at the same time as the other ones. It is 10 years after the end of book 3, so like a lot of time has passed. That's why we have the girls getting married now with Eloise and Penelope and Francesca, but it's amazing. I love it. And that is my ranking of the 8 Bridgerton books. Let me know what your ranking is. Some of the scenes are a little bit fuzzy to me. Like I said, I read these over a year ago, almost a year and a half ago now, except for the Vicar Who Love Me. I definitely need to do a reread, but let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Please keep it nice. I understand that reading is subjective. We all have different opinions, so I would love to know your opinions and let me know what your favorites were and why. I'd love to hear, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.